It is springtime here in the Motor City, finally feeling like springtime, and that has so many people cleaning out their closets. But while you're decluttering the things around you, it's also a good opportunity to declutter your mind. Let's bring in Carrie Krawiec. She is the therapist for the Birmingham Maple Clinic. Carrie, great to have you back with us. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Thank you so much.
I will say, so many people, especially during the pandemic, because we have been spending so much more time in our homes,
Mhm.
have been doing the decluttering around their homes. But you say take it a step further.
Absolutely. There's so much that bogs us down in our mind. People feel it all the time that they're carrying so much extra stuff that's not useful, that's gone bad, that's even toxic. If you would empty it out of your fridge, you should really empty it out of your mind.
And they do say that like your messy space, like your environment has an impact on your mental health as well.
Sure, that's absolutely true. It's even more true for women. They experience a cluttered space, increases the likelihood they'll experience anxiety and depression. So you're right, just seeing clutter can cause stress, but also having clutter in our minds is also stressful. It's when we have too many things on our to-do list that are in our mind, we become overwhelmed, scattered, disorganized. So it's important to clean that up too.
I am one of those people too, by the way. I'll put stuff on my to-do list that I already did. Even if it was like, pick up socks. I don't care. I'm marking it off because I have an app and I like to hear that sound of it crossing it off.
Yeah.
And I didn't really do anything, but it makes me feel better and feel more productive. And then it's easier to carry on with the day. So, are there some tricks and of the trades that can help people declutter their mind?
Sure. So for one of them is actually writing your to-do list down. So keeping it on an app, writing it down on paper. What happens when you just circle through all of the things that are on your mind or things you might have to do or remember who to pick up from where at what time, when you don't have it written down or saved in a space, it's like having multiple apps open. So your brain is just doing all of this work to just kind of like reload and refresh that to the surface. If you could write it down, it's like putting it down on a shelf. It's like hitting control save. It takes it off your mind and puts it somewhere else. So that's certainly one helpful task.
With us right now on the MegaCast, Carrie Krawiec. She is a therapist at Birmingham Maple Clinic. So, does it also help though to declutter the things around you to also
Absolutely.
get to that Zen space in your mind?
Sure, sure. Like I said, people can experience a cluttered environment as stressful. And I think also, though, what happens when we kind of evaluate what's going on in our mind that led us to get cluttered in the first place, both physically and mentally. So often, and we hear so many times people say, I should be doing this, or I should be doing that, or he shouldn't be doing this, or shouldn't be doing that. That as we're saying should, especially to ourselves, we're piling on all of this extra junk. We're piling on guilt. We're piling on low self esteem. We're piling on resentment. All of that stuff is just mess, right? It makes us feel lousy, especially the stuff like guilt and shame that make us feel somehow not enough. Well, then we add more clutter to our lives either by taking on more tasks, trying to achieve more, buying more, like then this new shirt will make me feel better, or this new something else, new house plant in my home will make it look more Instagram like. So as we're adding all of this stuff, we're also adding often physical stuff to our space in the form of more things or health food or like I said, more clothes or whatever. So even that mental clutter can contribute to our physical clutter.
So you can see where the two really kind of go hand in hand.
Hmm. Absolutely.
So with that, we're still in the middle of a pandemic. It's been more than a year now. Have you seen any trends in how people are addressing the clutter in their lives? Is it piling up more, or are they taking this time to clear out more?
Well, I think yeah, the blessing of COVID, especially at the start of springtime last year, was that people, like you said, were using their boredom to take on tasks. They if they weren't working to the same degree or whatever, they didn't have the same outside commitments that they once had. They were using that time to chip away at some unmet tasks. Unmet tasks are another thing that actually cause a great deal of stress. Our brain kind of keeps these things as novel puzzles. We know we have to do this. We might trip over it. We might look at it. We leave it out till we see it. But that's it's just a constant reminder of what we haven't done. So COVID did give us the opportunity to maybe be a little more mindful, aware of I do have the time to do this, and I will take advantage of that time by chipping away with a task. I think also at the start of COVID, and maybe it's gone a little way now, people were experiencing boredom in degrees they never had in a long while. Now we use our phones to sort of satiate ourselves during boredom, but it's actually during boredom when we come up with solutions to our problems, or we even brainstorm things that might be an opportunity. And I kind of say it's like emptying out your cupboard, seeing what's all inside, and then only putting back what you need. Giving yourself a space, whether it's meditation, whether it's yoga, whether it's a religious practice or spiritual practice, whether it's therapy or even journaling, allowing yourself some uninterrupted time will be the kind of thing as like cleaning out your closets, letting you sort of examine what's come in, what's going out, so that then you can only put back what's meaningful. And giving yourself that kind of routine time to do that is much like spring cleaning.
So, kind of just before the pandemic hit, was the big Netflix series was popular. I forget the name of it, where
Marie
it was about,
Kondo.
yes,
Yeah.
does it spark joy?
Yes.
And I think that that had a lot of people reevaluating their closet and how they buy and things around their home. But just when we declutter, we tend to clutter back up.
Exactly.
So, I'm looking at my cupboards where I cleaned them all out, organized everything, and now it's right back to the messy thing it was before. So, how do you make it a habit that sticks?
Sure. So I think something, like I said, some routine habits, like having a method with which you clean up, if you're breaking down things by days of the week or month of the year to clean your physical space. I love there's some great suggestions online as far as cleaning your physical space, like using May, for example, to do your garage so it prepares you for the summer, using, the fall to do your cupboard so it prepares you for the holiday season. Obviously, after the holidays, doing removing toys and stuff so that you can make room for your new things. There's some really great ideas about being aware of the time of the year and choosing a physical space that's aligned with that time, which would become your routine year after year after year. And many of us already do that with our closets, with our garage, what have you. I think there is a way to do that also, emotionally too, using 1 month of the year, say, for example, as we're approaching tax season and this time, using 1 month of the year to evaluate your money habits, what drives you, what feelings, what thoughts do you have that are right or wrong when it comes to money, what goals do you have, using different times of the year to maybe emphasize cleaning up different things, which relationships are meaningful to you, which activities or goals do you have, using the seasons of the year as maybe an opportunity to bring something to the surface because it's on the plate during that time of year.
So, with that, and those are great suggestions, do you also recommend, as people are trying to declutter their mind, to keep a journal so that they can maybe observe some of the patterns that emerge from that?
Sure, absolutely. Just like I said, a journal is kind of like taking everything out on a shelf and laying it out on a blanket, kind of like the Marie Kondo way. A journal or even a therapy session offers you the time to sort of take everything out, look at it, and then decide what of this do I want to put back? What of this can I repurpose or use differently? I think, like we were talking about too, so often we try to fulfill things, we feel boredom, we maybe feel like we shouldn't be bored, we should be busy, so we do more, we need more activities. Even cleaning up, like you said, sometimes is just something to do instead of doing something else, and getting more comfortable with having this space, be having the opportunity to really look inside and not feeling shame or guilt about what you bought or what you did, but to say, I just want to be curious about what is here. Journaling, like I said, a meditation practice, even walking outdoors, can all evoke those experiences.
Carrie Krawiec with us here on the Mega Cast. She's a therapist over at Birmingham Maple Clinic. And Carrie, I think hopefully the one thing that comes out of this crisis, we are starting to talk about mental health issues so
Mhm.
much more. It's hopefully the stigma is easing up a bit, really a lot, we hope. and with that, are you seeing more people seeking out the help of a therapist?
Sure, absolutely. There is kind of twofold. Of course, everything that happened the last year caused dramatic anxiety, caused a lot of stress, caused a lot of uncertainty for people, caused people to be together in their relationships in another way. So there was that component of people being in circumstances that really evoked the need for therapy. There was also access that changed, the policies amongst insurers and even the government to allow people more access to telehealth that provided the opportunity, and also for people who had felt the stigma before, allowed them to enter into therapy without even ever leaving their home, ever having the embarrassment or anxiety or shame of going in person. So that was really afforded the opportunity too for people to explore therapy in a way that maybe they hadn't before. I mean, and then there's also, right, people were experiencing, some of the long hauler symptoms of COVID are actually experiencing anxiety and depression as a result of as one of the constellation of physical symptoms that they're experiencing long term.
So, do you anticipate that telehealth therapy sessions will remain post pandemic?
We are hoping so. It really depends on if insurer providers are willing to continue to support and reimburse for those services. If people are willing, if they have to pay out of pocket for them, which they may if the insurance policies change. Think that, in my opinion, it would benefit both the consumers and the insurers to have people have a safe way to be treated that doesn't expose them to greater health risks. So certainly we hope that that would be possible, though often with those kind of things, um, the powers that be make choices that aren't always in line with us as providers and as consumers.
I know it's so hard to navigate the insurance world,
Mhm.
but again, hopefully it is something that sticks around because we know too it also opens up the access of therapy to people that maybe didn't live close enough to a
Sure.
therapist. So this does open up doors for so many more people.
Absolutely. Even the benefits of the schedules that people are not necessarily confined to their office space from 9 to 5, but maybe have some flexibility to work part from home or be able to take an hour midday instead of lunch and just do a therapy session on the spot. It really, like you said, it's provided so much in terms of time and space to do that.
Carrie Krawiec with us here on the Mega Cast. With that, Carrie, just another minute or two before we say goodbye. Anything you want to mention that maybe we didn't talk about here today?
Sure. I think the most important thing, like we said about when it's cleaning up your mental space, is really evaluating what you're bringing in terms of thoughts or feelings, and not criticizing yourself, but being curious. What meaning did this have to me? Why did I hang on to this? Kind of like, does it bring me joy? I mean, I really like that question Marie Kondo asked, but or does it bring me any kind of positive feeling or experiences that help me with my goals, what it might be, so that when we understand it, we know why it's there, as opposed to just letting it stay as this puzzle on our mind that we keep kind of revisiting. I should be doing this, I shouldn't be doing that. Is like, where did these thoughts even come from? Like, where did I even get this from? And do I have a way to use it? If I have a way to use it well, then it can stay. But if it doesn't, if it's not useful to me, it needs to go.
When should a person seek help, a therapy help?
Certainly, anytime we always think of, like, certainly anytime the feelings that they're feeling in terms of anxiety, depression, despair, things that are really plaguing them, are they increasing in intensity? Are they lasting longer periods of time without being able to kind of return to a normal state? And are they happening more often? So, intensity, frequency, and duration are certainly things to be mindful of. Feelings are feelings. It's okay to have a down day, or certainly if you have an experience that causes stress, to feel stress. It's okay to feel stress, because when you feel all stress all the time in greater and greater degrees with no relief, that's really a sign you need therapy. Of course, anytime you're feeling like you're a danger to yourself and others, if you're having thoughts of self-harm, thoughts of suicide, thoughts it's too much for you even to be willing to live, then that would be a like an absolute get help. There's someone there for you. You'll be okay.
And that is the important thing for people to know. Help is out there.
Hmm.
Ask for it. And again, I think during COVID-19, we've all come to realize that everyone needs some help and it's
Hmm.
okay to ask for it. So,
Hmm.
Carrie Krawiec with us here. She's a therapist for the Birmingham Maple Clinic. We always appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.